Hello everyone, this is your flashback once again, and this is the second part of my Shaman King review. And in this part, all I'm really going to do is kind of just ramble on about the characters for the most part, since my review was only like 60 minutes long, and I didn't really feel like typing out 20 pages on just the characters to pad for time, so I thought, why don't I just do this for my whole hour-long thing? And I guess I can kind of just go over, like, the bits of the series I like the best, and the characters I like the most and the least and everything, and all of that good stuff that accompanies the review. Uh, and I am not wearing these headphones on my head because of Yo. It is because I was listening to music before I was doing this. That is why. Uh, like I said yesterday, the story of Shaman King focuses on this kid named Dio Oscura, and he's a shaman, so he can basically force possession onto himself with ghosts and other material items that let the ghosts interact with the material world around him. And he's not even the first character we meet, anyways. First character we meet is Monta, this little small kid who's like 2 feet high, I believe. Uh, and he's this really wimpy little smart kid, and uh, he meets Yo one night in the cemetery, and soon after that they start becoming friends. And like I said yesterday, I'm not sure if DK really knew what kind of series he wanted to make from the get go with Shaman King, because like the first few chapters really are just like, oh, Yo and Vonda helping people and ghosts find their way or whatever, and then like the last couple of chapters, like the last chapter, the last 2 chapters, the last 3 chapters, pretty sure the last 3 chapters are Yo's fight with Ren. Uh, I mean, it could have been planned like that just to kind of like flesh out the characters and give us a reason to keep reading the story, or he really could have just been like, people aren't going to read this shit if no action is happening. It's called Shaman King for a reason, so here's the antagonist, and that's where Ren came into, and I guess and then after uh, meeting Ren and everything, that's when the series became far more of an action series. We got the introduction of Anna, Yo's fiance, uh, and then June, Ren's sister, and her, Spirit Lee Bai Long. And then after that, we quickly moved into the more tournament arc of the series and the more ongoing series itself, which was just fighting, beating the shit out of people with ghosts. Is basically what it was. Either ghost or, in June's case, a zombie. Uh, uh, or then and then you have the case the X laws, which are angelic cars. Yeah, wrap your minds about that. The spoiler alert, because in this review I do spoilers because I kind of assume that you have read the series when I do these reviews, and then like this part of the review, for the most part, from now on, will contain spoilers. I should get that out of the way now. At the 4 minute mark. Uh, the first review I do from now on, I will assume I will kind of go with the knowledge that you haven't read the series, or that you've read some of the series, wanted my opinion on it, but for the most part, you have not read or finished the series. So I'll kind of drop hints about spoilers in those reviews, but in this review, where it's just me rambling from the webcam for like an hour or so, these are going to have spoilers in them. So you've been warned now. But yeah, yeah. So then we had the X-Laws, and the Angels were were their cars, like these really like fancy cars or some shit like that. And then you had like characters like Hal and Janine, who are using I believe they were using God. I know the Iron Maiden was using a god, like the god of judgment, and then Hal was just using Spirit of Fire, one of the five elemental spirits, and then everyone wanted the damn Great Spirit, so that's that. And then we had like characters like Horo and Yos Mikihisa and even Temao who are using nature spirits, and that was really cool. And so now we get into the character part. First, let's talk about Manta. Manta was a really, really, really kind of like I said in the review yesterday that all the characters had a use, and Manta did have his use, but his use was very much to be like I believe Manta was really meant to be more of like the human character in this, which he was. He was meant to be the character that we the most kind of are able to put ourselves in the shoes of and like look at all this shit happening and be like, wow, this is really cool. And he is the character that we're most meant to kind of relate to, I believe. And his reactions are always funny. Like Manta's face, especially in the earlier chapters, he'd always have like his eyes would bulge out, or they'd get like super big, and his jaw would drop, and he looked like a really cartoonish type character, and I really loved that about him. Like just like watching him react to shit was hilarious. And even in the anime, he got a much bigger role. Besides just being like the sole human character in like the room full of shamans, the place full of shamans, uh, he lost the element about him very late into the series where he actually became a shaman. There was like this one little subplot where these people were trying to kill Hal, but in the anime, really everyone was trying to kill Hal. Or no, it was either they're trying to kill Hal, they're trying to kill Yell, or something like that. I forget what it was. But what they did was they were what the fuck were they doing? It was something like they were like eliminating people from the tournament. Yes, that's what they were doing. They were like eliminating people from the tournament by sealing away their ghosts. Like they would seal their ghosts, I believe, to their mediums. Like the first one they did this to was like the Lily Five, and if you don't know, we're only reading the Lily Five or the Lee Five is a group of all female shamans, exclusive to the anime, and all their names end with Lee, except for their leader, whose name is Sharona. Like they had the episode where they all like introduced themselves, and it was like Lily, Ellie, Millie, Sally, Sharona, and everyone was just like looking at her like, what the fuck? and and so Uh, and so they were in the anime. They were especially fun to watch. You see me laughing here. That's like honest laugh. Like I'm not even having to force or fake this. This is like because they were just that funny to me. Like that episode, it sticks out the most in my mind. Like when I watch on YouTube, I will pause at that part and hit the replay and like go back a few seconds just to watch their little introduction thing because it cracks me the fuck up so much. But anyways, getting back on track, these guys where they were like stealing people's ghosts away. They were either sending them to heaven or stealing their ghosts to their medium or stealing their medium off from their ghost. And so they wanted to go after Yo, who was obviously a pretty strong competitor in the tournament, and they knew that Monta, if you watch the English dub, his name is Mortimer Morty. They call him Morty for short. Uh, they knew that he wasn't a shaman, and so what they did was they summoned Mosuke, who was Midamaru's friend back when they were alive, and I guess they kind of remained that way even though one's in heaven, the one's on earth. Uh, they called him down and had him possess Manta somehow. Like they were able to like manifest an oversoul for him and everything. And because of that, like it was similar to how Ryu kind of became a shaman, where you had Tokugero who like possessed Ryu and that like throughout his latent abilities. So I believe it was largely the same thing with Vanta, and that's how that happened. So he became a shaman, and Mitsuke was his spirit ally, and that was largely, especially in the anime, done to reflect how powerful like their friendship was. Because there's Yo and Manta who are friends in life. There was Mitamaru and Masuke who are friends in life, and so now they each have both of them. They're all together, you know, now. So, but Masuke got barely used or anything, and Manta could only maintain his oversoul for like 5 seconds, I believe, was his max oversoul time. But he got that role in the anime. In the manga, he really is more of like the powerless sidekick. Really, I guess one could probably equate him to like. This is a very bad comparison, but you could probably compare him to like if you think of like Yo as Superman, you could kind of think of Manta as a male version of Lois Lane because he's always there and he's always getting himself in trouble with. Well, okay, no, that's like I said, that's a bad comparison. Because you can't compare Anna to Lois Lane. But I guess I don't know. I'm feeling like something superhero related at the moment. Suppose I want to go out and see the Dark Knight segment and the Amazing Spider. But anyway, back on track. But so that was Monta's character, and he was. What can I really say about his personality? Like I said, he was like a whiny. He was a whiny little kid at first, but as the series went on, he got more comfortable with ghosts and everything. And then when the Shaman tournament hit, once he actually kind of got himself involved in that, his his friendship with Yo was a really big thing. And let's get to Yo's character right now because Yo probably had like one of the most interesting characters I've seen in manga in a long time. Yo was he was very calm, and you don't see he was very calm. He was very laid back, and you don't see that a lot in anime and manga, especially not in shonen series, where the main character is this super relaxed, super calm, and just super nonchalant, I guess, about absolutely everything. Like, Yo, hold on. That's Yo was very he was a very unique main character. He was lazy. One of Yo's very most funny aspects is that he was a lazy fuck. And so and that's why he wanted to be the Shaman King. He said, "I'm going to work my ass off, and then uh, once I become the Shaman King and effectively rule the world, I will be able to kick back for 500 years and never have to do anything ever again." And that was why Yo put himself through hell so he could become king of the universe and just live a super easy, relaxed life, because that's all he really wanted to do. That was his entire motivation for becoming the Shaman King. And he had a very interesting, like I said, I really like Yo. I like Yo as a character. I like him as a main character. I like because I am a very lazy person and I enjoy my relaxation as well. Uh, but probably not to that extent where I'm willing to just work my ass off so I can relax at a certain point. Like I'm willing to work my ass off in the portions to relax some parts of doing shit. But Yeah. Uh, but I really did like that about his character, and I liked the fact that Yo, as the series went on, he stopped getting phased by certain stuff. Like Yo became very much. Yo is a lot of the characters in Shaman King are very much accepting of death, and I think that's the whole shaman thing. Like since they work with ghosts anyway, so that's a big part of it. And so like after like really once uh the Iron Maiden does her thing in the ring, and I'll get to her character later on in a little bit. But once she fights, actually, it's really like once the second round of the tournament begins, uh, and Anna is kind of pimping her husband out as like one big walking. No, she's pimping her husband's team out as like one big walking billboard for their future in and hot spring, and I'll get into that when I go over her. He is just constantly in a state of like, hmm, life is good. And oh, I have that evil twin brother who's going to annihilate the world, but I just live life moment to moment, and that's pretty much what Yo did. Yo. As far as I saw, Yo seemed very much unconcerned about the future because Yo really reminds in getting to this, Yo really reminds me of another character. He reminds me of Sakura Kinomoto from Cardcaptor Sakura, especially because of what's said in the series. Sakura has her invincible spell, and it is the same invincible spell that Yo has, and this predates Cardcaptor Sakura by a considerable amount of time, I believe. Cardcaptor Sakura came out in no, I believe the manga. Like I said, the manga is I don't know. But they should be somewhere within the same time stretch period. So like either the anime premiered that the year of Shaman King, or I don't know. Okay, I'm not gonna pretend to that. Yeah, but both of the characters are very much unique, and I like them both because they have that everything is going to turn out right in the end type mentality. Like come hell and high water, and especially in Shaman King, come what may, Yo has constant faith that everything is just going to turn out right. Uh, there was one part of like it's like right after Yo tells all of his friends that Hao is his twin brother, and the first Oscura. It's at that point, and it's kind of hard to like not have known that from like the first one how it appeared, because like when I first saw him, like he looks just like Yo. They're probably gonna pull off like some he's the evil twin kind of thing, and what do you know? I was right. Uh, but anyone can figure that out. Like a 5-year-old could have figured that out if they read Shaman King. Um, but so once he says that, Ren uh, notices that Yo lacks certain emotions, and that's not exactly true, but there is a small bit of truth to that because Yo very rarely displays extreme emotion to the series. Like Yo is in a very constant state of uh, calmness and laid and carefree, whatever. And there are very few times where he gets like angry enough to like seriously try to hurt someone. Like the one time that most sticks out in my mind, actually no, there are two. The two times that most stick out in my mind are Yo's fight with Faust, and that was because of Monta, and then Yo's first meeting with Lyserg, after Lyserg is like beating the shit out of Yo's friends and everything. Yo turns towards Lyserg and he gets this look on his face, and Lyserg's like, "Oh my god, the same look that Howie gave me that night when he killed my parents." I'll get more into Lyserg a little bit too. But so there is that aspect of Yo, and I really like Yo as a main character. He's probably one of my favorite characters in the series. Now let's get on to Anna, who was my most favorite character, and Anna actually reminded me a lot of my best friend Anna from school, and that both were very much kind of. My Anna didn't have like that hor that overblown tsundere type feeling about her, but when Anna got mad, I'm like, oh fuck, she's going to kill me, and that was the same thing with Anna in Shaman King, is that like this Anna has such a control over everything around her that if you fuck up just once, you're done. And she instantly became like also one of my like top favorite characters when I first read her, because I like the fact that Anna's whole no nonsense uh, near slave driver personality was paired with Yo's very carefree and don't do anything unnecessary, just lay back kind of personality. So I think it fit. I think the two opposites fit really well together. Um, Anna's probably one of the most badass female characters in the entire goddamn manga. I swear to God. She's the only female character that really repeatedly gets to do a whole lot in terms of like what's going on. Like Anna always knows something. She always, and I think that's one of the main purposes of her character, is that Anna's the one character that always knows that some shit's going down. And she's always there, like, to provide Yo with power up with need, like the show Senju Raketsu or the Tome of the Shaman if you're watching the dub. Uh, so she, or and then there's like the very start of her introduction. There's her training of Yo, which is more like a sadistic torture. Uh, and to say like the pictures I showed in the review yesterday are extras from the Shaman King Kang Zen Bang manga, and some of those have been like those pictures and like the earlier ones in general were translated into English, and it said that Anna is a very smart character. Like she was able to get through school without the use of any. She didn't have to use her shaman powers like Yo did, because in the first volume alone, Yo confesses that I'm not doing shit for myself when it comes to school. I'm just going to use the dead people that are here to help me breeze through my education. And then once Anna came into the picture, apparently, she forced him to stop doing that, and if his grades dropped, she beat the shit out of him again. I really liked Anna. She was very businesslike. Like Anna was always straight to the point. She didn't like to beat around the bush. She indulged in exposition giveaway, but I like exposition, to be honest. Like I don't find just dropping exposition to be detrimental to like the experience of anything. Like if you're just saying, "Oh, here's how this works," I don't find anything wrong with that, because in my own novels I go off and do that. So that's that, and that's another part thing that Anna served to do, was that she provided exposition, because she always knew everything that the other characters didn't. I wish that Anna had gotten a chance to fight some more. Like, there's a part in the manga where it's Anna, June, and Tamao versus the Hanagumi, the three girls on Hao's team. And I was thinking, okay, this is going to be the fight where we see Anna whip out those two Shinigamis of hers that she stole from Hao and beat the shit out of these girls. But no, she leaves it to Tamao and June. And it was a good fight anyways, but I'm like, damn it, I wanted to see Anna kick some ass, damn it. Uh, yeah, I also, like I said, in keeping with Anna's whole business-like thing, Anna also reminds me a little bit of Nabiki Tendo from Run What Happened. That uh, Anna seems, especially like once the tournament gets started, she seems very much willing to make a fast buck whenever she can. She's very stingy when it comes to money. Like there's this whole keychain thing where it's all like it says in the guide, but these are like 280 yen, which is like a really small amount of money in Japan. Like I think compared with like $3 here in America. Um, and the guys are like, "Girl, this is like 100% silver," and she's like, "I don't give a shit what the fuck it's made out of. It's 380 yen. That's how much keychains go for. Give it to me for 380 yen." And I'm like, she's haggling this guy for a silver keychain, which should, if it's made of like pure silver, it should be worth like some outrageous amount of money. She is like, "I'll give you like $3 for it. That is it." And I think that's what it was in the English dub, in the English version of the anime. It was, but he's like, "Oh, it's handcrafted. It's supposed to be like $10." And she's like, "No, keychains go for $3 exactly. Give it to me for $3." So there's that aspect of her, and then there's the Anna's big plan, I guess, is to uh have this whole inn and hospital because her and Yo live in what was an abandoned inn, I believe. It was like an inn that's haunted by spirits, which is perfect for two shamans live in. Um, and she wanted to like turn it into a full-on business, and I'm not sure if it's ever explained why. But every single time something comes up, she seems to be looking for an opportunity to like further this. Because what she does, she makes she knits Yo's clothes by hand apparently, and one of the outfits he wears for the shaman fight is uh she sews like his team. She sews like their little business logo onto it, and she's all like, she's basically like, you are my advertisement. Go out there and give me business. And her main thing, because she gets one of the characters, Faust, to join Yo's team. So, like, the middle-aged woman will love a hot a hot foreign doctor. And all this shit, she's just like planning. I think that's like Yo doesn't plan for the future, but Anna most definitely does. Uh, while Anna does live in the moment, she plans extremely far ahead for the future, and she's planning like this whole onsen thing. Onsen is like it's hot Japanese for a hot spring. This whole in onsen thing is like her nest egg. I take it. She was a very kick-ass character. I really liked that. I loved that bossy, abrasive, assert. She was very assertive. I wouldn't. I would go as far as to say that Anna is most definitely aggressive, but the fact that she doesn't need to resort to violence makes me want to say that she's more assertive. Uh, and I really like that about her. Is there anything else I can say about it? No. Okay, then let's move on to Ren. Uh, And in case you haven't noticed, I'm not going over any of the ghosts yet. I think like the only ghost I'm probably going to go over is going to be Midamaru, and that's going to be somewhere near the end of this whole thing. Uh, and just because I find Midamaru to be one of the most interesting characters of the entire series. Yeah. So Tao Ren. Oh, if ever I could find a character based off of not only Vegeta but Hiei from Yu Hakusho, it would be Talren. Like, you put the three of them in a room together, and it's like, yeah, you guys could be related. Because all three of them have that whole overly prideful, well, not really much in the case of Hiei, who could really give less of a damn about his pride. they had that very cutthroat, very bloodthirsty, very much the the darker side of the group dynamic, I guess is what I'm getting at. They're like the token evil teammate pretty much. Um, Ren is a very Ren is the Chinese kid in Shaman King. He's one of two Chinese major Chinese characters that do his sort of doing, which I'll go over next. Um, but he is very much, how do I describe that? If I describe Anna as assertive, then Ren really does lean far more into the aggressive category because Ren is very much used to resorting to force to get what he wants. He doesn't wait for people to subject to go on his terms. If Ren wants something, he is more than willing to take it by force. And that's the reason he entered the Shaman tournament is because they had to only get one hit in on the officiant, and Ren outright killed his. Uh, Ren is probably the most heartless member of the entire team when you think about it that way, because Ren Ren comes from a very Ren comes from a family of very powerful shamans, the Tao family, and their experiences with humans, as far as the series goes, have not been that well. Uh, so they are very much like the idea of killing someone uh, is not very foreign to them, and in fact, it's more like it seemingly comes pretty second nature to them, really. Um, Ren is very much. He's really kind of a dick. Ren is the little prick on the team. Like Ren actually okay. I was gathering. Ren very much speaks his mind. Ren has no shits to give about what the hell you're thinking. He's like, well, this is what I'm thinking, and this is how we're going to do it. Uh, Ren has that whole rivalry with Yo, where he's like, I have to beat Yo, I have to prove I'm superior to him, but he really kind of just lets go later on. It's just like, nope, there are more important things in life than doing that. Um, when he was first introduced, Ren had this whole, oh, you know. Okay, here I go with this. If if Yo was Yugi in terms of comparing Shaman King characters to Yu-Gi-Oh characters, if Yo was Yugi, Ren was Kaiba. If Yo was like, oh, shamanism and communicating with ghosts is like the heart of the cards, and ghosts have, you know, ghosts are sentient beings, you know, they have free will of their own. Ren was like, no, ghosts are tools. We shaman, we use ghosts to further our own means. Ghosts are nothing to us but just tools, and that changes uh, as the series goes on, and by the time that he beaten by Go he taught Go in the tournament, uh, he is able to let go of all that hatred and shit that his family had been like pumping into him since day one, and very much kind of like he still kept most of his personality traits, but Ren was probably I think Ren had one of the more deeper emotional had a bit more emotional turmoil uh, uh, involved in his character than some of the other ones did. Uh, it's all of a 7 o'clock in the morning, and I shouldn't be blanking on this, but I haven't done my bed yet, so I'm kind of just going off the top of my head. Uh, but that was really Ren's character. I'm sorry if I didn't elaborate more on his character, but I'm kind of I'm trying to cap this off at an hour. I don't want to go anywhere over that. Really quickly, I'll just kind of I'll skip June because June is pretty much like the sex symbol of Shaman King. June is the only character. June is one of like two. female characters. The other one being one of the Hanagumi that's actually sexy to look at. And she has a very like, oh, care about my little brother type thing, and I'll cheer him on. And she becomes like partially the team medic later on in the series. She's one of the oldest females in the series, capping it off at 17. I think one girl, one of the Hanagumi is like 22 years old or something like that. But that's Jun's character in a nutshell. There really wasn't too much deep complexity to her. But I still, June is one of my absolute favorite characters as well. Moving on, let's get into Horo Horo, who is personally for some reason my absolute favorite character. I love Horo Horo. Horo Horo is like Horo Horo was the comic relief before Jocko got into the series, and we got our amusement from the horrible puns about Token Blackhead. Uh, Horo Horo was very. Horo Horo actually also had some very deep emotional baggage. His whole thing with becoming a Shaman King was, I want to plant a field of lily pads, pretty much that covers the entire earth, because his guardian spirit was I don't even know how the fuck to pronounce it. It's an Ainu spirit that is like a little like nature spread. They're like really teeny tiny little things, and they live under lily pads and apparently can manipulate ice. Go figure. But then again, the Ainu, from what I know, do live in like the uppermost top northern part of Japan where it gets like really cold or whatever. It says he comes from Okada where it gets like 14 degrees apparently. Don't know. I am not a walking weather climate machine, so I don't personally know. I'm just going off what I remember reading. But Horror was a lot of fun. He he was one of those characters that really did use his humor to mask that really kind of shitty, tragic upbringing that he had. Because as a because coming from a family of shamans that lived up in the north, his father, who was like, apparently like the head of their clan or family, whatever the fuck it was, he was like, do not associate with humans. Just kind of keep to yourself, go to school, come back, and don't do anything else. And so it's revealed in backstory that there was one little girl at their school that they called Dumko, which is like a kind of bastardization of the English word for damn, and ko is used uh, at the end of girls' names. You're like Keiko and Setsuko and shit like that. Hanako. Uh, and so she had a crush on Horror, and they kind of became friends. And his father got all bitchy about him for it, and so eventually he just stopped talking to her and avoided her from then on. And one time, she followed him all the way up to. She tried to follow him home, uh, and she ended up freezing to death. And she ended up becoming his little guardian ghost, Korora, known as, ironically, Corey in the English dub of the series. Um, I do not take as much umbrage with that, though, as I do with other characters named Corey. Uh, but he was a really fun character. He was like, oh, we can just have fun at Horror Heroes expense type of character, and he was probably the most. He was probably one of the more like, in terms of like who I believe is the most badass character on Team the Ren, because Ren was that Zane's name, his team the Ren. It wasn't just Team Ren, it was Team the Ren. Uh, like bitch put a the in front of that Ren. I think Horror was probably the more badass of the three members there, and not just because, not for any racial reasons. Hopefully, you're not going to go there just because I said that. You probably are. But because he had mastery of ice and was pretty much controlling at this point water pressure, water and moisture in the air. So I'm like, oh, yeah, if you can breathe even with just the air around you, you're pretty badass. Uh, and he was really cool. Moving on, there was the walking race stereotype. Jocko Love McDonald or Jocko, and although Jocko wasn't my absolute favorite character per se, not because of the way he was portrayed. I don't have too much of a problem with the whole blackface stereotype when it comes to animated manga because frankly, we're lucky that there was a black character in the series to begin with. So it's not something that really that I'm like, oh, this is racism because he has like the big lips and the afro and he's dressing like some African and he's, oh, look at him, he's using a jaguar for a spirit. Oh, and look at him, he was from a gang, and an all black gang and that, and from New York and all this bullshit. So I'm like, I can see the implications there, but no. Uh, but so I wasn't really too bothered by his portrayal too much. But there are people out there that probably would be. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to try to. It's not like it's not too big of a thing, but it is a thing that exists and that people can draw negative things from. So that. But he was also a fun character. Like once he was introduced to the series, he was probably the character I got most of my laughs from. And he's probably the character that inspired me and my usage of puns. Because when my friend Lizzie's around, I am always cracking really, really bad puns. So I guess I have to thank Jago for inspiring me as that. Uh, but he was a really cool character too. Like I said, the characters in Shaman King, not all of them, not most, not a lot of them by far are like super sweet and clean or innocent in terms of like their past or anything. These are some fucked up kids, really. And Jocko comes from similar territory as Ren, where it's kind of like you need to kind of fight to get what you want in life because Jocko's parents were killed when he was a kid. So of course, insert your tragic gang backstory here, where he joins the gang and ends up killing some kid's father on Christmas Eve. And little did he know, those two kids would end up fighting them in the Shaman tournament, and they would end up killing him. But death is just as cheap in Shaman King as it is in Dragon Ball. So, he, of course, comes back. And ironically, he comes back blind. I forgot what the justification for that was, but Jocko ended up coming back blind for some reason. I think it was for some power-up reason. I'm not sure. But he was a lot of fun. And I really kind of liked that about him. The whole killing this guy. I'm like, oh, look at that. He killed some person. This is gonna come out to bite him in the ass. I know it. And sure enough, it did. And that's when Yo says, uh, because he's talking to the next character I'm going to get into from here, Lyserg, when he says the same thing. I'll end that on Doc's character. I guess like I said, I'm off my medicine at the moment. I'm doing this further unscripted, so if I have less to say about these characters and they are your favorite characters and you want me to say more about them, I'm sorry. But who the hell is going to watch up to the 43-minute mark, anyways? If you do, you win a cookie. Uh, so there, like leave a comment if you can make it to the 45-minute mark of this video. Seriously, like leave a comment on this video if you can make it to 45 minutes, or if you can make it to the full hour. But yeah, moving on from Jocko, we get into another one of my least, but still one of my favorite characters, anyways, Lyserg. I really, really like Lyserg. Lyserg is the Kurama of this series. Yes, I said that. Lyserg is the Kurama of uh, Shaman King, but not completely. Lyserg lacks the whole Lyserg lacks that constant cool that Kurama has. Lyserg kind of tries to put that on, but the thing I love the most about Shaman King is actually that the characters are somewhat portrayed as actual kids, and that is and that I think that is like the set that I think that is the best as far as Lyserg's character is, because these are like preteen to teenage children we're dealing with here. These are like uh, 12, 13, and 14-year-old kids here. And then, surprisingly, they actually look their age, too. Lyserg was the most probably childish of the entire group, especially, and I do mean especially if you go as far as the anime adaptation rather than just the manga. He was very much easily swayed by those around him, and while Lyserg did have very strong vision, like he's like, I have to kill Hal because he killed my parents. The manga, he was a very much more likable character. In the manga, Lyserg did in fact continue his friendship with Yo even after one of the X-Laws. Um, and he was still very much willing to not just associate with himself with, but still call himself Yo's friend in the manga. Where he says during his fight, like, you can't save people by being nice or whatever, that's my justice. But he still respects Yo enough to still be his friend and meet him when he calls him and all that and stuff like that. And Lyserg was he had this very kind of whiny personality in the anime. He was very much like, we have to kill Hal, kind of thing. And it did get kind of annoying, but I still liked him as a character. Probably the most potential to be like super badass character with the way he used that flyer and pendulum, where he really was just like everywhere. Like you couldn't escape that damn thing because it locked onto you. But that was Lyserg. Probably should talk about Ryu too. Ryu was like also comic relief. Like the big three comic relief characters of Shaman King are Jocko, Horo, and then there's Ryu. And Ryu is just comic relief because he's like the oldest member of the team, and uh, he's just kind of like the stupid one, really. Ryu's the Kuwabara of of Shaman King. Um, not too much to get into with Ryu's character, although Ryu did have something interesting about him, with that Ryu was constantly looking for his best place in the Japanese version, or his sacred hangings version, or his happy place in the manga. And it was like, because Ryu and all of his little gang members were all kicked out or whatever, shunned from their whatever backgrounds they came out of, and in coming together, they searched for a place where they could all belong together. And Ryu ended up finding that place, and that was at Yo's side as his loyal follower. Um, and he was basically more or less Anna's other bitch. Um, I think with the remaining time I have, which is like 10 minutes, I'll get into the X-Laws, how, and the Iron Maiden. And I'll start with the X-Laws themselves, and then afterwards I'll get to Movie Tomorrow. So if it goes over an hour, I'm sorry. First of all, we have the X-Laws. The X-Laws, the most important character of the X-Laws, for not counting the Iron Maiden, is Marco himself. Marco is this guy who I swear to God has to be some like weird pervert, because he like at later points in the manga he starts wearing these super short shorts, and like he drops his pants at one point, and he just is like this big ball. I'm like, God, are you serious? I'm like, why, Mr. Decay? Why would you use this? And like, I showed it to my friend Anna, and she's all like, Corey, what the fuck did you give me? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know what I gave you, Anna. It's there in black and white. But he was Marco was funny in how weirdly serious he was about everything. Like he was like, "Oh my God, the Iron Maiden, she is everything. She is like." He came off as a really like religiously cold fanboy. The other X-Laws were the X-Laws were created. In fact, the whole thing you could really say was created by that guy Lucius, who has all the Lucifer comparisons, whatever. But it was really more of a joint thing with him and Marco, and they were the one who actually even got Janine into doing this whole thing. But they were all joined in their hatred for Hal because all of them had lost something important to them because of Hal. Um, and he becomes like this weird kind of father figure to Lyserg, and it was he was like this. He was weird. Yeah, that's really all I can say about Marco. That he was weird. Okay, so no lots of time about that. Then there's the Iron Maiden herself. And when I said that you could draw a parallel to Jesus with the Iron Maiden, I was not at all kidding. Like, that is probably one of the clearest religious things I got out of the series was that the Iron Maiden was very much this very pious, this very sinless, this very, very innocent little girl. And she wanted this whole like world peace and no one suffering, and she went into the Iron Maiden willingly to take on all of the suffering of the world for herself. In addition, shamans and Shaman King, they're like saints in Dragon Ball Z. If they are near death or they die and come back, they get stronger. So I guess in this case, what kills you makes you stronger. But she was very interesting, more so in the manga because she did not want to kill people. In the anime, it very much did seem like they were just like these Knight Templar type people who are like, oh, we are good, they are bad, we have to kill anybody and everybody who's like in our way. Janine would never, at no point ever wanted to kill Yo that I really, really know of. Not in the manga, really. Think about this. No, I never really remembered Janine, calling her Janine, wanting to kill uh, Yo at all at any point during the manga. The other X-Laws were perfectly willing to kill him, but she herself, she made the implication that at one point we will have to pass judgment on him, but they kind of passed it up at one point where Yo drops out of the tournament at one point in order for the X-Laws to revive Ren. Uh, that was the ultimate sacrifice talked about in the other part of the review. Um, but so I really like one of my absolute favorite female characters in Shaman King was the Iron Maiden. Uh, and then there's Hal, and Hal has to be my absolute favorite villain in any series. Uh, Minus Azula from Avatar: The Last Airbender, who I see is very kind of similar but not. Hal is very much like his brother Gil. Hal is very calm, very nonchalant, very casual in everything he does. He's very like everything that Hal does comes as naturally to him as breathing does. Um, and he's like the first Asakara. He is some constant reincarnation that comes back every single Shaman tournament. And at this point, the Oscars just happen to be having twins. Yeah, let's be honest, in December medicine. Um, but he is very much Hal doesn't give any fucks about anything. He like Hal. I did say that you can make Hal out to be the good guy of Shaman King because I believe that Hal's goals, while they were horrible, the series it stated in canon that evil beings cannot see ghosts or spirits, which means that everyone at some level has to be benign within the context of the series. And Hal was. His goals were to save the world. And destroying the human race and lots of shamans. What are you gonna do? But I like that he had a set of goals and ideals. I like the fact that he was willing. Like I like villains who aren't just going to let the good guy walk away. I don't like villains who just kill their subordinates for no rhyme or reason. And How never did that. When How did kill his subordinates, it was like I don't need you anymore. He was very friendly and good natured his um to his subordinates while he needed them. But once he needed them, he's like, yeah, I'm going to kill you and feed your souls to spirit of fire. Goodbye. Um, and that's what he did. But I liked how he was, like, because he was like the evil twin brother that I could always see. I could always see like in an alternate, like in a spin-off of Shaman King, where neither one of them was evil. Like, How would be like the other good guy, Yo. And I really like that about How. And now I'm going to get into like the most interesting character by far of the series, which is Midamaru. And Midamaru is Yo's guardian ghost. He is the dead samurai that protects Yo. And I find his character to be very interesting in that he, as a samurai, is still willing to serve a master, regardless of if he's dead or not. Um, he's very noble. He's very loyal. Um, he's very honorable, and I generally don't care for honor when it comes to certain series. I'm the kind of person that's like, if you see an opening, you need to take it. If their back is turned, if their groin is exposed, whatever the hell you need to do to drop them, drop them. And having and for me to like a character as honorable as Myanmar, it was kind of weird for me because, like I said, I don't really like those kinds of characters. I like the more cutthroat characters, because normally the series they're in is normally like you need to get shit done, so get shit done. Uh, and Miyamaru though never failed to get shit done when he was working with Yo. He was always very much like, we need to do this to make sure that nothing happens. Uh, Uh, the thing I find the most interesting about Amidamaru is in regards to the sequel series of Shaman King Flowers. Because neither Yo or Anna or much of the original cast is in Shaman King Flowers, Amidamaru has returned, and he is the spirit ally of Yo and Anna's son, Hana. And I'll get into this when I do my Shaman King Flowers chapter review, because that's what I'm going to start doing. And it'll be my first time like going chapter by chapter, because I'm going to do this probably in a couple of weeks or like next week or whatever, and just go chapter by chapter with Shaman King Flowers and kind of update you on it. Uh, I find it most interesting that he is allowing